All right, good morning, everybody. This is the Fantasy Sports Boss. It is Sunday morning, August 20th of 2023. Lots of games to talk about from yesterday. Some big winners right off the bat, off the top of our heads. Jaylen Warren with an electrifying touchdown run. Dalton Kincaid looked really good. The rookie tight end for the Buffalo Bills. We'll get to all of the action, all of the relevant fantasy football news. But before I go any further, if you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button, the notification, and the like button. So that way you're made aware when, and anytime new videos are added, to the channel and whatnot. So yes, there was a lot of games yesterday, as preseason week 2 really got fully underway. And as far as injuries, I talked last night about the rookie Devin Arshane, the running back for the Miami Dolphins, who suffered a shoulder injury, had to be carted off. He's going to be reevaluated today. Didn't look very good, let's put it that way. So now that probably eliminates him from consideration for at least week 1 and solidifies Raheem Mostert and Jeff Wilson as the two primary backs on this team. But we'll start with that Miami game. So Tua Tagovailoa played, threw an interception right off the bat, 5 for 7 for 61 yards. Skylar Thompson actually came in and did a really nice job. 3 touchdown passes, 15 to 22. Does this supplant Mike White as the backup? No, it doesn't. But at least, we saw some growth from Skylar Thompson, at least in this game, although it came against a very bad Houston Texan team. Speaking of the Texans, C.J. Stroud's been a slow go so far this preseason for him. He was 7 for 12, 60 yards before Davis Mills came on to replace him. But looking at the running back situation now for Miami. So Raheem Mostert was good, 6 carries for 30 yards. Salvon Ahmed, it's easy to forget that this guy's still on the roster. 12 carries for 99 yards, and he caught 4 balls for 32 and a touchdown. So Salvon Ahmed, who, along with Myles Gaskin, are kind of forgotten holdovers in this very crowded Miami running back room. And this is a team that wanted to go out and get Dalvin Cook as well. Is that Mike McDaniel, showing his hand that he's unhappy with his guys? I don't know, but, they've all been very productive so far this preseason. Now, Jeff Wilson is banged up, but him and Mostert are going to be the guys. But Gaskin and Ahmed, are they going to be traded? Are they going to be cut? I mean, it's hard to imagine all of these guys making the team. A lot of that does now depend on the Arshane status in terms of his injury. But listen, Salvon Ahmed looked good, and we've seen flashes of Myles Gaskin in the past. But it's hard with this backfield. It really is. I mean, Jeff Wilson and Mostert are going to probably split things 50-50, making both guys, tough to depend on in terms of any kind of consistent, a flex at best, both of them. But the thing with Mostert is he's the electric one of the two between him and Wilson. He's got that ability, and we've seen it where he's got explosive home run hitting speed. He gets that little seam and he can take it to the house. I mean, he could pick up yardage, in a flash, while Wilson is more of a plotter, compared to his counterpart, and doesn't have that flash. So if there's one guy you would pick, it would be Mostert because of the game-breaking ability. And Mostert actually caught the ball fairly well last year as well. But neither one of these guys are going to be big PPR weapons. So I don't think, that's not really a shock there. Tyreek Hill caught a pass for 13 yards. Dameon Pierce, 6 carries for 15 yards. Devin Singletary, 2 for 6. I'm interested to see how this is going to, just how many carries or touches per game Devin Singletary is going to have. And I've been, I don't have any shares of Dameon Pierce. I consider him as a running back 2 in all leagues. I think he's got a little bit more value in standard leagues than he does at PPR. The thing about Singletary is he actually has been pretty damn good on a per touch basis. His rushing average has been good. He's not a speed guy, but he catches the ball fairly well. He does everything well without being exceptional. All right, so he lacks flash, Singletary, but he gives you an honest effort every time he goes out there. And I think the Texans know this and realize this. That's why they brought him in. And they saw how Pierce wore down as the season went on. And this was no surprise. Anybody that saw Dameon Pierce in Florida, he was not a full-time runner. And this is the concern I have about James Cook in Buffalo, which we'll get to. Pierce was a committee back in Florida. All right. So I said last year, anybody that remembers, I said, I'm worried about him being a bell cow back in Houston because he never was that in Florida. He's going to wear down, and he wound up getting hurt. And I think the Texans know this, and that's why they brought in Singletary, who's, a dependable guy. But how much work is he going to take from Pierce? Is it going to be 50-50? No. Is it going to be 60-40? Maybe. And so that's a problem for Dameon Pierce, who, hasn't really exactly taken off as a receiver yet either, although he did a good job there at Florida, catching the ball. Nico Collins, 2 catches, 21 yards. He's an air yards guy, Nico Collins. The advanced metrics are very glowing when it comes to Nico Collins. It's hard to get excited about anybody on this Houston passing attack. I mean, Dalton Schultz caught 2 balls for 10 yards. He's the only guy I'm actively going after. Not even actively. If he's there, if I choose to punt tight end, and I have a draft this Thursday, if I choose to punt tight end, Schultz is going to be there as an option. He's a move the chains guy. He's not an athlete. Let's face it. Good red zone guy. Dependable receiver. C.J. Stroud's going to have to rely on him as a rookie quarterback, as most rookie quarterbacks do with their tight end. So I think Dalton Schultz remains a guy who, if you choose to address running back, quarterback, and receiver throughout the early and middle portions of your draft, you can come back late and take a Dalton Schultz. But remember, you can't go quarterback, tight end early because you really start to hurt your receiver running back room if you do both of them early. All right? So in a 12-team league. In a 10-team league, maybe you can get away with it. But in a 12-team league, no. All right, so that was the deal with that game. It was just good to see Tua Tagovailoa just make it through the game in one piece. I mean, Jesus, this guy just can't stay healthy. All right, let's get to this Pittsburgh-Buffalo game because there's a lot of interesting fantasy tidbits that came out of this one. So, listen, Jaylen Warren is a game breaker, okay? He had 1 carry. He went 62 yards for a touchdown. It was electric. He's an electric player. Undrafted, but so is Austin Eckler. And there are comparable comparisons between the two of them. Not the biggest guy. Both of them, Eckler and Warren. Very, very good speed. Game-breaking speed. Can catch the ball as well. We've been hearing chatter that, Warren is making a firm push to get maybe even as much as a 50-50 split. Now, I don't think that's going to happen. I think Najee Harris, he was injured throughout the course of last year, although even the year before as a rookie, he didn't average 4 yards per carry. And if you can't average 4 yards per carry, you're ripe to be supplanted or at least have some of your touches taken away. And I think that's you can't hold Jaylen Warren back. I mean, every time he gets on the field, he makes plays. So Mike Tomlin's not an idiot. He's been around a long time with this team. He knows what he's doing. He knows he's got a playmaker in Jaylen Warren. He knows that Najee Harris is a move-the-chains guy. He's not a game breaker. Harris, 2 carries for 6 yards. I mean, 3 yards per carry. That encapsulates what Najee Harris has been with the Pittsburgh Steelers. No doubt about it. Listen, Kenny Pickett is playing well this preseason. And he played well the last quadrant of last season as well, last December. All right? He was 3 for 4, 43 yards in the score. Threw a 25-yard touchdown to Pat Freiermuth. And there is another name. If you choose to go tight end late, this is the guy I would target. All right? I know last year the touchdowns dropped off, but with Kenny Pickett's development as a passer, I think he's going to lean heavily on Freiermuth, who was really good as a rookie, 7 touchdowns as a rookie. He's a more athletic Dalton Schultz. He really is, Freiermuth. And I think he could be a really solid top 8 tight end in fantasy this year. We've seen it as a rookie. His targets are consistently there. They've been from day one. So I think on opportunity share alone with an emerging quarterback, I think Freiermuth is a really good investment. I really do. Allen Robinson caught a pass. George Pickens caught a pass. I'm hearing all this hype about George Pickens. I'm not in on it. Deontay Johnson and Freiermuth with Pickens. I think Pickens is 3rd on that target tree, so I'm not actively going for him in a run-heavy offense with a quarterback who still has a lot to prove. All right, Josh Allen, 7 for 10, 64 yards. So here's the deal. Dalton Kincaid was terrific. 3 catches for 45 yards. He was ripping off, chunks of yards, 15 yards a catch. He showed why so many are high on him in the fantasy community. He has got underrated speed for a tight end, tremendous hands. He put up circus numbers in college. And if the Bills are really serious about using him as their every snap slot receiver, even as a rookie tight end, and we know the history of rookie tight ends, it's just not good. I'm on board. All right, so I have him. I picked him up in my 10-team league. He did not get drafted. Sam Laporta did, and Kincaid didn't. I picked him up after seeing how he was doing in this game, dropping Jeff Wilson. And it was good. It was really good. And we've seen, Cole Beasley in the slot with the Bills, an 80-catch guy. If you can get 80 catches from your tight end, that's gold in fantasy football. Absolutely gold. So at the very least, in a single tight end league, which most leagues should be anyway, Kincaid needs to be owned as a backup, a very high upside backup. All right. It just watching him yesterday, it was obvious to see how good he was. Stephon Diggs, 2 catches for 21 yards. All right. So he looks like he's fine. All right. The running game for Buffalo, James Cook, 3 carries for 3 yards. All right. So, he wasn't good. Very limited amount of touches, though. Latavius Murray, 6 carries for 26 yards. He was better. Murray did catch a pass for 4 yards. James Cook is a darling this summer. He's really gaining traction as a prime sleeper. And I've been saying all along, just be careful. He's never been just like Dameon Pierce in college, has never been the guy, the bell cow back. He's not the biggest guy. He's electric, great receiver, no doubt about it. I'm not taking anything away from him on that respect. But can Cook be able to handle a full load? I don't know. Latavius Murray always gives you an honest effort. All right, he's going to be the goal line back. Murray still has some juice in his legs. I don't think we're going to see this massive Cook breakout that everybody is articulating. I don't see it. All right, I'm not on board with that. Now I could be wrong. Listen, we're all wrong about some things in this industry, and I'll be the first to admit later on in the season if I was wrong about it, no doubt about it. But I'm not making it a point to make sure I have to have James Cook. It's just not in my. He's just not a target of mine. I'm not buying all the hype yet. All right, the Chicago Bears, Indianapolis Colts. Anthony Richardson did not play. I know they want to preserve him, but man, he needs reps. I get and they're starting him from day one. I get it. And Gardner Minshew is good, 13 to 15, 107 yards and a touchdown. Gardner Minshew always does well when he plays. He's like the ultimate fringe quarterback. All right, he's like right there as good enough to be a starter, not consistent, not good enough where he's probably best served as a top backup. But the guy, he plays with energy, he makes plays with his legs. He can help in a pinch. But I still think Richardson needs the reps, and I anticipate he'll play next week in the 3rd preseason game. This is a guy who barely played in college. He needs the work. I'm surprised that Indianapolis didn't have him in there. Justin Fields didn't play either. A couple of things from this one. Roscoe Johnson looked good. 7 carries for 32 yards. He's been a guy. He caught a pass for 11 yards as well. Donta Foreman, 3 carries for 12 yards. Donta Foreman is what he is. He actually caught a pass as well for 6 yards. Donta Foreman is what he is. He's just a straight line, north-south power runner. And that's it. Khalil Herbert, on the other hand, who was held out of the game, much more efficient as a runner, more speed, has some game-breaking ability. But Roscoe Johnson is at least a very solid handcuff. Now, I don't have him in the handcuff category as a Tank Bigsby or a Deuce Vaughn or Zach Charbonnet as far as the rookies. But, he's in that next level. Travis Homer is still there, although I don't think he's going to make the team. So, I wouldn't go crazy with Roscoe Johnson either. Kenyon Drake, 3 for 5. Evan Hull, 4 for 13 in terms of the carries. This is just ugly, this backfield for Indianapolis. I don't know why they don't have Leonard Fournette in there. There's just no reason not to bring him in at this point. If you're really If this Jonathan Taylor thing continues to go on, they have to do better than what they have. And again, you have a rookie quarterback who needs help. He needs support. You have to do better than Kenyon Drake. There's just no doubt about it. They brought in James Washington. He played, caught a pass for 42 yards. Nothing really happening. And again, I don't want any of these Colts players. I'll take Richardson as a backup in a single quarterback league. I don't want Michael Pittman. I don't want Jonathan Taylor. I don't want anybody from this offense. I just don't. It's just not a good system right now. That you could feel comfortable owning any of these guys. All right, Tampa Bay knocks off the Jets 13-6. Kyle Trask got the start. He threw a touchdown. He was good, 20 of 28, 218 yards and a touchdown. I don't think this is going to do enough to overtake Baker Mayfield, but maybe it shortens Mayfield's leash a little bit. Just like the situation with the Colts, I don't want anybody from this Tampa Bay offense outside of Rachaad White, because I think there'll be a lot of dump off passes for Rachaad White in a PPR league. But that's it. I don't want Godwin. I don't want Evans. I don't have to repeat myself because you all know how I feel about that. The Jets, they obviously they didn't play Rodgers. He could play next week against the Giants. The running back situation, Zonovan Knight's not going to make the team. He fumbled. He had a drop. He's on the outs. Michael Carter, Israel Abanikanda, the rookie who injured his thigh. They're going to be the two guys sitting behind Breece Hall and Dalvin Cook. All right, so I think Zonovan Knight is going to find his way out of town. Hell, maybe even the Colts kick the tires on him. Who knows? Receiving-wise, nothing really happening here as well. So kind of a non-event with this game overall. All right, let's move on. New England Patriots 21-17 over the Green Bay Packers. All right, let me pull this up here. Hold on one second. All right, so Bailey Zappi threw a touchdown pass, but he wasn't very efficient, 10 of 22. Mac Jones was 6 of 9. Jordan Love, again, made plays when he was in there. 5 for 8, 84 yards and a touchdown. And I'm starting to grow very intrigued with Jordan Love. He's looked great this preseason. Nothing but rave reviews throughout minicamp and training camp. He's learned behind the best quarterback of this generation. And there could be something here. He's got weapons. Game-breaking, emerging Christian Watson, solid Romeo Doubs. He's got 2 very solid running backs to help take the pressure off of him. The rookie tight end, Luke Musgrave, who caught 2 passes for 13 yards. Doubs was 2 catches, 52 yards in this one. Jaden Reed, a do-everything guy. I think we need to keep an eye on Jordan Love. And Love rushed 2 times for 11 yards. So there's a running component for Jordan Love. So I think we all need to come around now and be a little bit aware of what Jordan Love could possibly bring, especially in a Superflex league. And as a matter of fact, I would pick him up in a Superflex league because I think that we're starting to see enough evidence that he might be able to help us this season in fantasy. Ramondre Stevenson, 4 carries for 27 yards. Wow, he was good. Caught a pass. I think the arrival of Ezekiel Elliott doesn't hurt Stevenson as much as Dalvin Cook's arrival hurts Breece Hall. Elliott really is going to be just the goal line back, I think, and maybe just spell him for a couple of snaps here or there, talking about Ramondre Stevenson. In PPR leagues, I think Stevenson's going to be just fine. Maybe just slightly downgrade him a little bit because the touchdown potential won't be as great. But he only scored 5 touchdowns last year. If he can repeat those 5 touchdowns and another 70 catches, it's the same player. Still a low-end running back 1 in PPR, Ramondre Stevenson. So, I think that he is. Don't downgrade him too much. In other words, I don't think Ezekiel Elliott coming, is not as much of a threat to him as Dalvin Cook is to Breece Hall. All right, Tennessee Titans 24-16 over the Minnesota Vikings. The Titans are an interesting team because they're in a division with 2 rebuilding clubs in the Colts and the Texans. So the division is there for the taking. So I understand why they brought back Ryan Tannehill and they brought in DeAndre Hopkins. They have weapons. This is the last go-around for this team. Mike Vrabel's an excellent coach. He's got a 29-year-old Derrick Henry, an emerging Treylon Burks, an emerging Chikozzie Okonkwo to go with Hopkins. So there are weapons here. The offensive line is scary, but all they have to do really is get through Jacksonville. So there is a road to one last hurrah with this team this season. As far none of the quarterbacks played here. Worth mentioning. Alexander Madison did not play. Really nobody. There was really nothing to talk about in this game because no player of significance played. And like I said, breathing a sigh of relief. So far, so good as far as injuries are concerned. Kansas City Chiefs 38-10 over the Arizona Cardinals. Man, the Cardinals are going to be so bad this year. It's going to get ugly. It is absolutely going to get ugly. Blaine Gabbert, 7 of 8, 120 yards and 2 touchdowns. He's fitting in perfectly already with the Kansas City Chiefs. Pat Mahomes, 10 of 15, 105 and a score. This is just a team that is already looks like they're firing on all cylinders. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, 4 carries for 10 yards. I mean, I can't imagine Clyde Edwards-Helaire. He caught 2 passes for 8 yards. I can't imagine him making this team. Now, Rashee Rice, 8 catches for 94 yards. Holy shit, Rashee Rice. I didn't draft him in the league that I had, and I should have. Justin Ross, 2 catches for 18 yards. Sky Moore, only 2 catches for 6 yards. I'm starting to have some pangs of regret already on Rashee Rice. I feel like I should have been a little bit more aggressive on him in the draft that I had just finished last week. And I think I might be regretting that. Now, I have another opportunity this Thursday. I think we're going to be a little bit more aggressive on him because he looked great. He did. He looked great. Yes, it's preseason against Arizona. I get it. But any receiver attached to a Patrick Mahomes, Andy Reid offense is worth our attention. Very, very, very impressed. And we could it be something? Yeah, maybe. We're just going to have to see here. All right, San Francisco 21-20 over the Denver Broncos. As far as this game is concerned, we're not. I thought more prime players would be playing in these games, but they haven't. Trey Lance, 12 of 18 for 173, a touchdown and an interception. It was okay. Sam Darnold also threw a touchdown and a pick, 109 yards. Brock Purdy got in some action. Jarrett Stidham played majority of the game for Denver. Russell Wilson, 3 for 6. As far as running the ball, so Javonte Williams made his first suited up for the first time since suffering the devastating torn ACL, MCL, LCL last season. 3 carries for 12 yards. Caught 4 passes for 18 yards. So, it was a good return for Javonte Williams. I was impressed. He looked spry. I watched this game. He looked like he was running with good speed. You don't want to go crazy. And Samaje Perine was good too. 3 carries for 22 yards. And Perine's going to be used. Is it going to be a 50-50 split? This is another kind of murky setup. But Javonte Williams now, at least, could be worth looking into. Ronnie Bell, 7 catches for 114 yards for San Francisco. Jordan Mason battling for a spot at running back for this team. Nothing else really jumping out on this game that I wanted to talk about. But Javonte Williams, that is a significant step in his return, no doubt about it, from injury there. All right, so the Rams, LA goes down 34-17 to the Las Vegas Raiders. Jimmy G was 4 for 4 for 39 yards before he took a seat. Stetson Bennett played the majority of the game, 15 of 24 with an interception for the Rams. Zamir White, 10 carries for 40 yards. He's going to be the guy and he caught a pass for 9 yards, unless this Josh Jacobs situation can resolve itself. Nobody else really of significance played or did much in this game. But, Josh Jacobs, what's the end game? Like, where are we going with this? I mean, same thing with Jonathan Taylor. What is the end game for these guys? It's getting like almost beyond ridiculous now at this point. Dallas against the Seattle Seahawks. Seattle won it 22-14. Will Grier played the majority of this game. Geno Smith cameos, 5 for 6 for 46 yards for Seattle. Deuce Vaughn, 5 for 14, running the ball with a touchdown, and 1 catch for -1 yards. Really wasn't as good as he was last week. But Jackson Smith and Jigba, the rookie for Seattle, boy, this guy is good. 3 catches, 58 yards. He's going to get looks. There's no doubt about it. He's absolutely going to get looks. And he has to be drafted. How much does he take away from Tyler Lockett, DK Metcalf? That's to be determined. All right, Zach Charbonnet, 3 carries for 31 yards, 1 catch for 1 yard. I told you guys, I'm going to say it again. He is the top handcuff running back for all of fantasy football this season. Not Jaylen Warren, because Najee Harris is so dependable in terms of his health. So, you got to get him. You got to get him. That's it. There's no other way for me to say it. All right, Jacksonville, Tank Bigsby, 13 carries for 70 yards. He caught 1 pass for -2 yards. I mean, he's been great. He has been great this preseason. There's your number 2 handcuff, Travis Etienne, not the most dependable guy in terms of injuries. Dearness Johnson, 6 carries for 36 yards. Snoop Connor, 5 carries for 18 yards. They're battling for a roster spot. JaMychal Hasty, 4 carries for 8 yards. But this is Tank Bigsby who's going to get this backup spot behind Travis Etienne. Receivers, anything worth talking about? Not really. I don't see anything that stands out. But so that's the deal. In terms of the games yesterday, any injuries worth talking about besides our Shane? I don't think so. Rashee Rice, I just wanted to... so Rashee Rice right now is 11 catches, 126 yards this preseason. So, he played with the second team, but if he's going to continue to play like this, then... we gotta take a closer look on this. Now, I know I gave you guys Richie James. I still think Richie James is going to be a factor on this, but Rashee Rice playing as well as he did, he certainly could be solidifying his spot. And listen, Sky Moore's going to have to pick it up. Right? He wasn't good as a rookie. He struggled whenever he got on the field, even in the punt game. He's going to have to start getting up to speed as well. All right, so that's all for today for the podcast. Make sure, again, you hit the subscribe button. Tune in tomorrow, another podcast, more videos, any injuries that come down, you know the drill. Until then, we will chat soon.